A lot more about our vendors and the food and the musicians and the poets that are in the house, figuratively in the house. But I just want to get a few announcements out of the way to begin with. This door will not be used as a regular entrance to and from the building, as you can probably imagine why, because people will be performing up here. So if you need to go into our big yellow house, Park Hall, to use the washroom, you can head around this corner into the parking lot, and there's a door and some arrows directing you in if you need to use the washroom anytime during the afternoon. We will have a break in about an hour and a half or so, but otherwise there will be performers all afternoon until 5 o'clock, and then I'll be telling you a little bit later about a really exciting concert that's happening across the street later this evening. So you should plan for a full fall fun day of folk music. Alliteration abounds. Okay, our first performer, we're very excited to have him here, is a local writer who you've probably read some of his work in the Courier and elsewhere, and he is a poet and is here to share some of his poetry with us. So please give a warm Folk Fest welcome to Rob Patry.
Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good. Thank you, Sarah. That was very kind of you. I don't know how excited people really are. I suspect that if you have seen me in the past, you probably aren't excited at all. The good news is for folks that are seeing me for the first time, you're stuck here now. We've got somebody in the back taking names, so if you happen to leave while I'm speaking, you'll be in big trouble, so please don't. Does everybody here like poetry?
Yeah. Woo!
Good. Good. Well, I'm a poet. I'm not really a poet. I don't know what being a poet means. I indulge in the art of poetry, but I don't know if I'm really one. But I've written a few things here, and I hope you enjoy them. And once again, thank you for coming out and supporting St. Stephen's University and Folk Fest 2016. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful sunny day. Warm and just a great way to celebrate October. So the first poem I'm going to start with is a sonnet, and it's simply called Sonnet. Sweet breath of air and sunlight gaze upon cheeks flushed with morning haze. I call to thee, my lover true, ignite in me the fire for you. I write of longing, yearning, pain, yet in my world the clouds do rain, and the force of nature that doth stain these tainted hearts in anguish remain. Play to me on thy sweet guitar, let the balance shout from early star. When tender feet do walk astray, 'tis in my arms you'll always stay. I'll hold thee tight and in comfort be, and when you sleep, you'll dream of me. Thank you. There's really no way of me telling you that the poem's over, so when you hear a pause, it either means the poem's over or I've fallen asleep due to the boredom of my own poems. So please let me know you're out there. I appreciate it. Thank you. The next one is called Lift Bridge Operator. In our town, a lift bridge rises when a ship or sailboat trundles through and lowers to let vehicle, pedestrian traffic across. I sit in my Ford Focus and wait with other cars, anxiously waiting to accelerate to unloving lovers and tirelessly boring jobs. The man who lifts and lowers the bridge wears a blue shirt today. His great-grandfather fought in World War I at the Battle of Vimy Ridge. His grandfather was judge on the Supreme Court. His father was a Mason. Mother wrote for New York Magazine, short articles and critiques. They looked down on him, hoped he would be an engineer, maybe an accountant. Should have gone to university, but he chose another route. He is happy, seems happy. He loves John Coltrane and Thelonious Monk, listens to them on a small radio while he reads James Joyce or Nabokov. The salty breeze relaxes his thoughts. Simple finger movements required only to push a button, allowing him to focus on life. His lunch, artisan bread, sliced charcuterie, fresh fruit, camembert cheese, and a bottle of San Pellegrino. Tonight he'll take his wife Cindy to the beach. They will walk holding hands, watching the sunset blaze, come home and make love. The bridge comes down. I drive through. Thank you. Does everyone know what a haiku is? Somebody does. Very good. A haiku, well, maybe come up and explain it. No, I'm just kidding. It's a Japanese poem based on 3 lines. And usually the first 2 lines have nothing to do with each other, and the 3rd line sort of combines the 2 thoughts. I don't know if I properly expressed it, probably not, but I'm the one with the microphone, so it really doesn't matter at this point. But this is a short poem called Haiku. Samantha called me the other day, asked me if I'd heard of a Japanese poem, a style, a feeling, a story told in 3 lines. News to me, not being a writer, nor a follower of poems, not even someone who knew much about Japan. So I called her back. Hi, Samantha, tell me your poem. Thunder roars from the sky, cicadas mourn the dead, summer breached by insects' cry. Not being a writer nor a follower of poems, I asked her to read it again. I've written a few poems called Solitude, and each one was numbered. So the first one I'm going to read is 5 and then 11. And if you're wondering, and I'm sure you are, if there's a 1, 2, 3, 4, there's not. It sounds more dramatic by just putting a number beside it. So that's what I've done. The first one is called Solitude number 5. Near the ocean, down by the water's edge, remain the ashes of what once was. No remorse, no tears to drop, no unsettled cries of desperation beyond the tomb. There in the smoldering flame I met her, touched by the years, open to the thought that I was the one to carry her over the waves. And carry her I did. Through the fields of wild honey blossoms, o'er the blanket of midnight skies, we touched and kissed and became one. Soft, sweet, nimble caress. Oh, how my heart danced upon morning's crashing surf. And in her eyes blazed the triumph of my youth. And between the silks of love we overcame all, until the levee broke, and all that was soon swept away. I think of her now as the starfish cling to the rocks, and I hold on to that fragrance of her hair as it stroked my shoulder. And we made love until the end, and now she is gone and I'm alone. I return to the murky sea that engulfs my life and tears me, dragging my broken body along the edge of what will never be. Everybody liking this? Yeah. Any complaints? There's a little box over there. If there's something you don't like, just put it on a note, put it in the little box. After the show, I pick it up and I just throw it right in the garbage. So, but it's always good. At least it makes you feel better. So here's something a little lighter, and it's called Seasonings. Salt and Pepper sat on the table. Salt asked Pepper if he was able. to spice up her life with fun and romance. Pepper said he would if given the chance. But salt made Pepper's blood pressure rise, and Pepper made salt tear up her eyes. He became thirsty, and she started to sneeze. His tongue got thick, and she coughed as she wheezed. Pepper said, "I am black and you are white. If we're to survive on the table, we'd better not fight." So Pepper sat at one end and started to grind, and salt dried her tears and made up her mind to enjoy her life without very much spice. And if she wanted Pepper, she'd better think twice to take things lightly and free as they come. Be happy with who you are and not to feel glum. This is Solitude number 11. You cannot take water from the earth without taking the rust from the land. Virtue, witness, and daring collides with the ever-present hand. Walk past the oak, the sycamore, and the palm, down the path to the gravel or by the stone. There you'll find solace, sleep, and peace of mind. The wrinkles furrow deep, the lines of sand now decline. Must from the grape tells you what you need to know. From the brow of the willing to the seed you must sow. Cartwheels in the sand, time is now remorse. Troy's gates are open, strapped to the wood, wheel in the horse. This one is called Topaz Salad. I suppose it was to be expected, not a complete surprise, that I should bite down on topaz while nibbling on my fries. Mesclun, bib, and romaine never were for me. I prefer the pomme de terre when it came to tea. Scrubbed up, peeled, mashed, or fried, roasted, broasted, boiled, or dried. In this case, the problem came when spuds caught up in the flame. Chef du jour was surely to blame. Too much oil Tom was his name. So they gave me a salad in its stead, saying the Redskins were quite dead. Not dreaming it would happen twice, I bit down on some topaz, and it felt like ice. Now my gums are bleeding and my teeth are lacking too, all for eating this salad instead of the tuberous snacking I normally do. You're still here? Anybody leaving? Anybody? Everybody's happy? I can't tell if you're happy. I assume you are. There, good. That's what I want to hear. Some joyous shouts. Solitude number 64. It occurred to me sitting here that I needed ice for my drink. Appleton dark rum on a gloomy day demands to be chilled. You never did love me. I know it now. If you did, you would not have sent the letter back. I gave him a look, the young man delivering the letter. He looked forlorn while I was standing on the porch, radio on. Joan Baez, come to think of it. I noted the time on the clock. The sound of the second hand clicked in my head. Sign here, please. I can never find a letter opener when I need one. So I tore at the letter's side, opening the wrong end. A simple note, you were gone, leaving me here, but I see you now, looking young, standing by the water. We were intrepid then, and our dreams went on, and I thought of you as I got up for some ice. Anybody here like Edgar Allan Poe? Yeah. Good. I do as well. I was tried to let the spirit of Edgar overtake me when I wrote this, and it's clearly not as good as anything he would have written, but I wasn't on opium or alcohol, so thumbs up for me. This is called simply Gothic Door. Olivia was the girl for me. She shed not tears, not a drop, you see. Amongst her possessions prized, a bottle of dreams once capsized. Earmarked for the better life, I took her long to be my wife. And in our mortal salutation came the inevitable horror, which now is fame. Olivia cried that stormy night, when wrongs were written off in flight. A bead of sweat from her neck so fair, a drop of warm mist in her hair. A knife shone in the darkness bright, a blood-stained blade that caused me fright. Olivia, my sweet, what have I done? A lifeless figure on the run. The ghost of Olivia is so near. I hear her voice, I smell her fear. The candles of the room burn so fast. The wicks are ashes, the wax is dashed. I am not here to answer thee, for Olivia remains here with me. I carry her here, dear to my heart. I play the fool, a coveted part. I killed Olivia on that night. I made red out of what was white. Against my forehead I swear to thee, innocence must be my only plea. Only God can judge me now, for to him I've made this vow, that when I hang on that sunny morn, Olivia, my love, you shall be reborn. Thank you. This one is called... I really shouldn't have to say every time before I give you the title that this one is called. I should just tell it, to have more confidence in myself. So this one is called Louis Blaketon. Louis Blaketon rarely took the seat on the subway, allowing the throngs of people access to a poorly upholstered chair, a bilious green vinyl spot for businessmen and women, respite from their long day of work. No, Louis Blaketon preferred to stand, hold the leather strap or cold but sweaty and clammy bar above his head that allowed him to grind into people sharing his space, knowing they had no legal right to intervene or even be there. He looked over the map, memorizing each station, each stretch of track that wound its way through round and square tunnels, breached by subterranean dwellers, ready to attack. Louis Blaketon. He read the ad again for the 20th time about nylons for women of plus size who preferred the feel of polyester to bare skin. Wished he had a girlfriend who he could go home to. The train now stopped. He disembarked, stopped, and bought some gum and a newspaper. It's like being at a rock concert. I know. Well, whistlers, please whistle. I know, it's a little lighter. It wouldn't make much difference, so it's daylight, so probably just set fire to all the trees, and that's not a good thing. I'm just kind of shuffling through here, mixing up the program a bit. This one is called Tempus Fugit. Leaves began to turn brown, and the oak went brittle. Maple sap that flowed freely choked and strangled its branches. A warm breath of life that keeps us afloat turned to pallid icy winds from the north. Walking alone, I buttoned my coat, feeling the soft wool of my scarf. Snow fell and whirled its way around my thoughts, and the street lamp's glow echoed the same distant words. I will not give up the journey, though I do not know where the journey leads. I will not stop the fight, though my hands are gnarled and chilled. I will not evict the invincible reality. I shall face the demon head on. At the crossroads I met on that bitter and wintry night two men whose visages I knew. One was old and one was young, yet both had lost the spark in their eyes. We sat and talked of the woodpile and the hellhound, of the solstice and the vernal equinox, of the northern lights and aurora borealis, and my fair lover of the dunes. Do you remember that sound, I asked? The smell of that wonderful spring, the taste of the wine, the touch of the suede as it rubbed up against my skin. No one answered, for no one knew, and I remained as my friends went along their way. I rubbed my hair back, I sat in the snow, and life just passed me away. These things make great paperweights. I don't know what other uses they have, but they prevent the papers from blowing away. Hello. Isis, and this is not the Isis we're familiar with. Isis is a girl's name. So don't think of the other Isis. Think of my Isis. We met near a sand dune in a small cafe outside Zanzibar on a hot, sweltering day. She looked for a lover, a ride through the storm, Aphrodite in blue jeans, true to her form. She called herself Isis for reasons unknown, the markings of the devil high on her cheekbone. With eyes dark like pitch and hair like the sun, our swan song of mystery had only begun. We made love at sunset by a beach near the sea. We joined in the melee of our lost company. Two desperate souls joined for an infinite time. Thieves of misfortune embraced in a crime. And then on to Paris and the Champs-Élysées, drinking claret by the glass and watching the fray. We struggled with our youth, our virginity lost, the end of an era, the final dice tossed. Isis came to me in a dream one night. I'd given up the ghost, she'd bet on the fight. We tore at each other like dogs to the bone, a gambler of lost karma, no pathway home. She brought me the opiate, I brought her the sun. She raped and she used me until daylight was done. And as my flesh weakened and my heart grew hard, I learned to swallow emotion and throw her off guard. And now we remain two, but divided by one, and soon the drama ends with the shot from a gun. Isis, oh Isis, where have you done now? The sweat beads so lightly against rutted brow. The coffee brews gently and patchouli fills the room. Isis drifts away slowly and wallows in gloom. And I fade gently like a lamb dripping blood. The cancer is stopped now, nipped in the bud. This one's called Confessions of a Pedestrian Man. Pedestrian being a play on words. Pedestrian, of course, somebody walking, and somebody who's a bit of a dullard. So this is kind of the latter guy. Although I suppose he could be walking also. So think of a really boring guy walking and explaining himself. I like bland things, devoid of flavor or passion. Gray is my color, or beige, if gray is too loud. I strive to be mediocre. Always enjoy a sit on the fence. My favorite traffic light is yellow. I'm middle-aged and happy. No crisis there for me. I lean in the middle, somewhere between conservative and liberal, an equidistant sort of thing. Not wanting to rock the boat, taking a steadfast approach. Don't care too much for spices or condiments on my food. I like my water not tepid, but lukewarm is a bit too much. I've been known to watch the test pattern on TV or listen to the emergency broadcast system on my radio. I still miss elevator music. You'll often find me under the radar or maybe faceless in a crowd. I thrive on political correctness, never wanting to offend the wrong man or woman. My shoes are black, my socks are black, my pants are black, my shirt is white. I'm happy, but never too much. At the right level, you know, for someone of my type. Neutral is my favorite gear, and it always gets me nowhere. Something smells good. What is that? That's not your cider, is it? Is it? So everybody should come up here and buy themselves a nice cup of hot cider. I'm trying to help you out here. And I can tell you by the smell, it's the best smelling cider ever. So I strongly recommend it. This one is called... after this is over, my wife is going to say to me, I should have explained these better. But I think this crowd is savvy enough to pick up on all my little nuances and metaphors. I don't think I need to explain anything to you. If anything, you need to explain things to me. This one is called Pirate Oath, 1702. Sand calls me, water shouts my name, white oak in salty brine, albatross floating above me in sapphire sky. Waterlogged wood binds the vessel to its hull, fresh scent of resin, sails flap, billow in summer breeze. Creak of worn joints aged by rum spirits, lashes out at Bounty Fair, upon one maiden taken from her cushioned bed. Planks of wooded knotted rope, twined hard tight to mizzenmast. Starboard bound we are on a wayward sea. Brethren of blood, I'll die in the mid-morning sun. Will give my life when asked, and take a life when asked. I fight for silver, gold, and rum's mysterious bite, spilling what I've taken now, and lancing with my saber. All hands are on me now. Should they make my death, the water is not my home, but it is my breath.
Is that recording?
This one is called Fate, Simply Twisted. The young boy cried when his mother died, a time of lost hopes and spirit. There wasn't a place or a moment saved, because she had gone in a mere instant. She was wearing a gingham dress on a warm July Saturday, and her earrings glistened sweet golden shadows against blue speckled skies. She was young, I think. No real tragedy, I suppose, just another unaccounted mishap in a world gone awry. Yet, when I see that little boy today, my eyes swell up with tears. I think of my mother. She had blonde hair and green eyes, and an insurmountable passion and joie de vivre. Complex objective mirrors stand in the way of what we want to see. I suppose that little boy is me, and I saw her die in front of me. It's always me, isn't it? I'm older now, older than I was yesterday, and still I haven't seen the suffering he has. I can't stop thinking of that gingham dress, soaked in blood, as onlookers gawk and question why such a thing would happen. I couldn't do anything about it. I never can. Did I tell you her dress was made of cotton? 100% cotton. I think her name was Emily. I'm not sure, though. Who's going to take care of him? Not my concern, of course, but I need to get home. This is too surreal, too real. I can't look into his eyes. Has it been a half hour yet? It's either like been 2 minutes or like 4 or 5 hours. I can't tell. Time just stops when you're up here on the stage. Is this a nice setup? Give the folks that got this all ready for us a big round of applause. See, when I got here, there was a stool, and that was it. And I demanded a chair and a table. Now, first they were going to give me a plastic table, and I said, no, I want wood, solid wood. And they went out of their way to get me wood. They've given me this beautiful, I think it's an Oriental rug. And then after this is over, I roll it all up and I go home. It all becomes mine. This one is called, has anybody here ever been to IKEA? You know, there's a girl raised her hand. She's been to IKEA. You ever put anything together from IKEA? No, you have. You're not sure. You have. Everything you put together at IKEA, or even at Home Depot, or Kent's, or Keith's, or Canadian Tire. I'm trying to localize things so everything is relevant. It's very difficult. So this one is called, it's about that. It's called H Too Slow. The plan is simple, easy to follow. Take clearly marked parts and put them in small piles, discernible even to someone who knows nothing. Even somebody with no prior knowledge is able to connect the dots. Follow page 1, 2, and C. Take part A1, connect to the arm, uplift the leg, just below the lid. Prior to the hinge, bolt in the nut, turn to the right, tighten with ease, follow schedule D, unless you purchased E. Then scrap directions provided, start again. Now take the driver, make sure it's a Robertson, won't accept anything that you already own. Go down to the depot, they have them in aisle 9. But if you can't find them, just ask for Lucifer. He'll tell you where to go. This one was inspired by, this is kind of a 60s poem, inspired by the Vietnam War and what was going on at home. It's entitled Fragments. The potential was insurmountable. All roads, all indications pointed to a glittering future. Success will be easily attained. After all, the youngest son was the pride of the family, the one upon whom all others were judged. At 18, Harvard did not come courting, and the years that passed like soft summer breezes never justified why there was so much animosity, disdain, bitter resentment towards all things intellectual. You couldn't turn on, you couldn't tune out. And when Timothy Leary spoke, cascades of multicolored rainbows flowing from the stratospheres, and the tests dropped into pools of laced enlightenment. Screw your courage, young nation, lay down your youth, and return your axes, bold as doves, cold as loves lost. Pay your taxes, burn the symbol, watch it burn, see how it burns. And on a hot, sweaty night just outside of Saigon, when the VC bodies piled high, and the pyres blazed in the swelter, the youngest son gave the final measure, drank from the silver chalice, and returned to his father. Aren't these uplifting? You probably want to go home and have a good cry.
Rob.
The last one. Is it too long, or do you want me just to stop it there? You know what, I can't see. I put on my glasses.
One more poem.
What'd you say? One more poem? Did you say one more or no more?
I said one more
All right, one more. Okay, then that's it. And aren't you thankful it's over? All right. Now my Gaelic is not good, so this is a Gaelic word, but I don't know how to pronounce it. So I'll just wing it. I think it's pronounced Mofocail, which means my words. So few have understood, so few have taken the time. We circumnavigate the globe, we spin it like a dime. Infusion on a monumental scale, outcast to the lot. Depravity, anxiety, and fortunes taken on the spot. You've stood in front of the jury, condemned by your peers, alienated antichrist, hiding behind silk veneers. Systematic reduction, boiled down to the base. Migrant through the wetlands, thoughts without a face. The ocean casts a salty brine, gives up few of its dead. The waves crash slowly to the shore, stroking the beachhead. Anchors and bulkheads that rot so deep have given us so few of the memories we dive so deep to get within the sincerest of virtue. Your youth shows itself in your words, your patterns, and your thought. The momentum that brought you here is impetus that you forgot. You wear your anger like a badge, unyielding to the meek, and all the time you lost your courage, it was revenge that you'd seek. To conjure up the mystic truth that has passed from year to year, with battles fought with Brian Boru, killing off the final fear. When insanity peaks and Pontar falls, and the edge is at the gates, you sit there and you take it in and dream of a greener Yates. Thank you so much. I'm sorry if I went over. It just seemed that everybody just didn't have enough.
It's a dog. It's like a really weird dog. It's a